It's Alethea. I feel so bad for me that I have to follow him and Ethan. Anyway, so my story is...
You'll do great.
What?
You'll do great.
Thank you. So So my story is much more G-rated, and so yeah, no injectable, sadly. I feel like I haven't lived. But anyway, so this story happened about 5 years ago. I was newly single, and so what do you do when you're newly single? You go on Groupon and you try to find an urban budget adventure. Where are all the eligible bachelors hanging out? They're hanging out at the introductory beekeeping class. So I went to Hunter's Point, and it was less up and coming than now. And I was the only single person there, of course. And other than that, it was a pretty fun day, learning about European and Russian bees, bee colony collapse, etc. Tried some pollen. I was very into it. I felt very much like the whitest person in the room. And so there was a cute kid there who was single. There was he's the only other person there, and it's oh, he's cute, a little young for me. I don't know. I'm really single. That compulsion. I should probably put myself out there. I don't know. But it's really hard in those beekeeping suits. They're very shapeless. Then you have the hats, so it was very hard to do. I'm terrible with selfies anyways, so it was just so I kind of abandoned those plans. And after the class, some people went into an unrelated mead bar next door, which why not? It was Saturday. I literally had nothing else going on. And so the cute kid from the beekeeping class came, thank God, and just hung out for a few hours. We're all drinking mead, getting drunk, and people coming in and out. And so I started to talk to him. His name's John. He was 24. I think I was 28 at the time. And I was acceptably okay age difference. And, the usual, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I work for Pixar. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And he's like, did you see The Good Dinosaur? I'm like, no. I don't know that anyone did. It was the only Pixar movie that was just made everyone sad. And he's like, well, I humble brag. I don't know if I had the jump to be oh, I drew the clouds in there. I'm like, me. Wow. It's the Bay Area. No accomplishment too small for a brag. And admittedly, I don't have anything to counter that. And I was like, cool, I guess. I don't know. So we're just talking, and people coming in and out, and flirting with the server. I feel it turned into a pretty cool hang from an otherwise awkward a bunch of strangers learning about bees together but not talking. And so this was a Bay. Hunter's Bay Point, whatever, and so it was kind of this old school, SF blue collar of yore, and so this guy comes in who's clearly a local, grew up in SF, and he was late 40s, early 50s, and he definitely cut an odd figure within the generic millennial, BuzzFeed segment of kind of people. But I appreciate that he came in and was talking to us, and I think at some point he kind of realized that maybe I was single, and I'm kind of and all women are always kind of wary of the one guy who's going to try to pick you off from a herd of gazelle or something. All right, where's the stupid wounded one? So I just very much felt I think of women always kind of putting, having their guard up like pigeons, how they'll walk and they're kind of from the side, I just been oh, is he doing anything? And so that's kind of how I felt toward this guy. I'm being friendly because I like weird experiences. So I'm cool, let's ride the weird, see where it goes. But he started showing me pictures of his children. And he's talking about, he had three teenagers or something. And he's oh, these kids are really good looking. Oh, they're so good looking. And I was just And I don't think he was so clever enough that he would have read the what was that the pickup artist book, whatever, the game, where it's what's an inoffensive neuro-linguistic programming kind of thing I could use. If you repeatedly say that your offspring are attractive, transitive property, she will think you are attractive. Which I thought that was weird. I'm I don't want to ogle your teenagers. I think they're malformed and they're not really. Teenagers make me really uncomfortable. I don't want to be in funnier though. At all. So I was just like, I don't know if that's a thing that women like. I'm like, oh yeah, let's look at your grown children. And I just remember thinking like, Jesus, this is worse than having to talk about like, what do you do? And I just remember thinking like, Jesus Christ, I hate children. I don't want any. I equate children with like crushed dreams, resentment, and in diametric opposition to me ever owning a house or even a second hand. See, he knows. Or even a second-hand Chanel handbag. So it's just all of this is just like. And anyway, so he started telling me a bit more about his time in SF growing up, which I actually thought was cool. He was talking about how he grew up and he worked for like the best bookie in SF, which, you know, illegal betting, that's cool, I guess. I think he was trying to build his case of like virile, entrepreneurial, I don't know. But then he kind of tops it off with, he's like, oh, I built I'll pretend you're him. Oh, I built a home gym. You want to come see it? And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, I built a gym in my garage. And I'm like, oh, he's like, all the kids use it. I'm like, what? Who's kids? Like, whose kids? He's like, all the neighborhood kids. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's, half of that sentence was like really great. So the moment finally comes, it's like, you know, he's going to pick her off and see if she will take the bait. And it's just like, you know, Predator 101, like don't go into the strange man's garage. And I was just looking for an out where I'm like, oh, you know, like kind of panicking, being like, oh, there's no smooth way to do this. And he's like, unless your boyfriend here has a problem, and emotions to the cute kid. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna glom on. And I'm so happy that there's a person on stage. I can use you as a prop. So I pretend that he's my boyfriend. I'm like, yes, I will let you make all those assumptions. And so I just kind of like throw myself back. And then I just grab the kid's face like that. Like, oh my boyfriend. Yes. Ben, you're such a sport. Actually, this is actually kind of the tone for the rest of the story. Someone acquiescing to my will. So I like grab his face and I'm just like, yes, my boyfriend. Well, he's my ride home and we're gonna get dinner. I mean, you know, and I defer to him. And so this kid who doesn't know me just kind of went, yes, maybe later. And I'm like, okay, bye. So we take that as a cue to leave and I'm like running to his car. He has not offered me a ride anywhere. And I just say, hey, I'll give you a hand job in exchange for dinner. And he's like, you know, it was a lot like that where it's like, okay. It wasn't. This isn't good on me. And this is actually my third time doing this. Anyway. Yeah, so I decide to take him to Tommy's Joint, which I used to live in Cow Hollow. Yeah, it's a fantastic place. It's really good. It's a great place to go when you don't know somebody and you've been drinking all day and you're really hungry and then you want to eat like Slimer. Yeah. And you're eating essentially like a full like Thanksgiving dinner and it's like, tell me what's your deal. You're just eating an ungodly quantity of meat. And this guy like barely, I don't know, it's like he barely had a pulse. I mean, he was a fine driver. So it was just like pulling teeth to like get him to say anything and just like, okay. And then getting to know him a little bit more, like he clearly had broken up with his long-term partner. They moved out here and it splintered and it's pretty common. And so I really applauded his commitment to his budget adventure through his Groupon that he actually was like, I'm not going to let this go to waste. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, so, you know, finished dinner and it's pretty awkward. And I was just like, so, how about that hand job? And this is I feel like the only time in my life where I've ever been able to under-promise and over-deliver. So I feel really proud about that. Yeah, I was always going to go for a beach, but... so I take him back to my place, and it's like the kind of like the thin interest, like veneer is kind of fading. I'm like, all right, this is like he's not that willing, but like, we're here, he's a stranger in my room, he's on my turf. Maybe I'll murder him, I don't know. So I didn't murder him, but it's like, people never talk about the ambivalence with like a lot of hookups, where like, well, you know, like Korean Jesus, like, all right, well, I have, you know, an itch to scratch, cobwebs to clear, like, you know, so I respect that, for sure. So, you know, we get to awkward making out, and I'm like, how about a BJ? Like, trying to be seductive, failing. And he was just kind of like, okay. You know, not the warmest, you know, no rustling, like, let me get all this clothing off. And it's just like, let me help you. Oh, man. Anyway, so, not great. So, yeah, do the BJ. I mean, it responds. That's helpful. That's good. and then I kind of like awkwardly just kind of like hop on, and you know, it's some nice unprotected sex, but you know, I have an IUD, so I'm like, I don't care. It's not my problem. And so, you know, it was like 2 pump chump, and I was like, I know. I was essentially like forcing him to sleep with me, and then he was kind of like, oh god, get her off. I don't know. It wasn't so bad. I don't know. It was very like that emoji guy, like. It wasn't like a slam dunk, but I was just like, I overpowered him. It's like, or like, I had an agenda. I staffed the role, and it was, you know, one day only, fire sale, I guess. So, to top this story off, just realizing that he's like, we were both using each other as a rebound and like, you know, basking in that glorious like transactionality of it all. After, you know, he was very sexually disappointing after that entire drum roll. You know, I just decided to use his penis like a little puppet, so I was just like playing with it, going like, oh, hello, Aaron, it's so nice to see you. I just thought, I'm not going to see one of these for a while. Then I think it'll great. And did you know that's weird and not sexy? So he's just like horrified, like, and can you believe it? We never saw each other again. But he did text me a week later to be like, oh, have any STDs? I forgot to ask. And I was just like, haha, lol, what? Like, men are so dumb, where it's just like, didn't ask me about birth control, or like, you know, I don't know, maybe I was looking for a fatal attraction, like, whoops, baby, I don't know, like, this is the now or never, I don't know, like, it could have been anything. And he asks like a week later, like, oh, just covering my bases, and I'm just like, no STDs, but I am pregnant. And we never spoke again.